Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the DELCO Cross Country Podcast. With you as always, this is Kevin Key. I am bringing you the coverage from this weekend's action in Delaware County Cross Country, and I do need to apologize. I'm going to make a few apologies, but first I'm going to make an apology on my audio today. The best part about being married is that sometimes your spouse would go and clean up things and place them in places that you have no idea where they're at. So currently I'm missing my microphone, which is going to cause me a little bit of an audio mix-up today on today's podcast. Hopefully I'm loud enough, hopefully I'm clear enough that you understand everything that went into the importance of the cross-country weekend in Delaware County in general. So today, my goal is to cover the following meets. I'm covering the Unionville 2-mile bash. I'm covering PTXC. I'm covering the Abington Invitational and the Mill Street Run with things on the horizon, as well as a peek at this week's power rankings in Delaware County. It might cause some controversy on week one. So let's do it. Let's cause some controversy. My first meet of the weekend that I was looking at was the Unionville 2-mile bash this weekend, and I'll be honest, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with Delaware County in general here. This meet goes to multiple ways. So it has a freshman race, a sophomore race, a junior race, and a senior race. And what they do at the Unionville Bash is they go with the fastest finisher of those races. And that is your overall team winner. And then on top of that, what they ended up doing was combining the results of all of the races, the freshman, the sophomore, the junior, and senior meet, and they decided to score that in a way in which is if it was actually scored in a cross-country meet. So when it came to the Unionville 2-mile bash, we did have a DELCO team tie for the number one position, and that team would have been the team from Ridley. The Ridley boys, congratulations on your first victory of the season. They had top finishers out of nowhere. It's not out of nowhere, I'll be honest. Freshman race, you have a guy like Nick Lancey, who finished 5th overall in that race. And let's see, that gene pool kind of strong in the Lancey household with Joey and Nick. And I'm not going to hold anything out when it comes to this family. They've got a strong bloodline flowing through Ridley right now. And there's another bloodline flowing through Ridley that I'm going to get to in a little bit. In the 10th grade race, you had in 7th Paul Alua. In the 11th grade race, Oma Matheos, and I apologize if I butchered that name, because that's a tough one. He went 12th overall. And then your overall winner, your course record holder, Jackson Kane. And Jackson Kane crushed this course in a course record overall 9:33 finish on a 2-mile course. Jackson was flying. Like I said, what they do is they also go and they combine these races as well. So if they were actually combined and everyone ran the same race with total scores, like a cross-country race ends up being with the top 5, Pencrest would have been the number 2 overall team, losing to a Westchester Henderson, and Haverford would have been 3rd within that top 5. With their top 5. Jackson Kane, like I said, had the overall best time, course record 9:33. With Edemias, I keep messing up your name for 2 years now. I'm going to get it. Edemias Molageta having the second fastest time of the day, just 1 second behind Jackson Kane. DELCO is going to be a fun race. Yes, sir. It's going to be a fun race between those two, with other athletes stepping up as well, coming into now 3 weeks away with DELCO championships. You had Rowan Carr, who was the winner of the 10th grade race. Nobody around won the 10th grade race with the 4th fastest time of the day. And Haverford's Teddy Foster, he was second in the junior race, and he had the 6th fastest time of the day. Nick Fonte from Pencrest also had the 12th fastest performance, giving Pencrest 3 athletes within the top 12, which is a great start of a season. When you can push 3 within the top 12, 3 in the top 15, you're going to win a lot of meets doing it that way. Overall, DELCO showed out. DELCO had 10 finishers within the top 50 of the Unionville 2-mile bash. 10 of them. I already spoke about Jackson Kane, who was the number 1 overall finisher. I already spoke about Ademias Mulligan, who was the second fastest time. I already spoke about Rowan Carr, who was the fourth. Teddy Foster, who was the sixth. Nick Fonte, who was the 12th. But then you had someone like a Sean Lawson from Haverford at the 18th overall time. Oma Matheos from Ridley with the 28th fastest time. You had Upper Darby's Josh Sharp, who has made his debut in an Upper Darby uniform, junior, finishing 46th. And you had Trevor Forsman of Sun Valley finishing 47th, with Logan Eagles of Haverford finishing 50th overall. 10 of the top 50 were from Delaware County. That's impressive, especially when you're looking at a meet and a race that had hundreds of kids within that territory. When you're able to put 10 people from the same county, that's impressive. And the boys were not outdone. I mean, the girls, they showed out as well in this one. The Haverford Fords on the girls' end, they quacked their way. Get it? Because they did the Go Ducks thing from the Mighty Ducks. No, Haverford. Maybe you'll laugh at this one. Cameron, I know you're probably laughing if you're listening. The Haverford Fords quacked their way to a second place overall team finish. They both, in total score, as well as in the top freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. If it was an actual cross-country race, they would have finished second as well, only losing to a ranked team, number 3 in the state in this one. So, once again, Haverford showed out without their top athlete, without Olivia Cieslak. They went and they barely lost to Owen J. Roberts in this one. Barely. So, team without their top runner, they showed a lot of depth. So, their top finishers here to finish second overall. In 9th grade, they had Charlotte Gone, who went 13th. In 10th grade, they had Evelyn Awad, who finished 6th. You had the 11th grade race, Ryan Dankinis, who finished 2nd. And you had in the 12th grade race, Cameron McGeehan, who also finished 2nd. Definitely a great start for the Haverford Fords, especially for the girls on a 2-mile race. Once again, if this was a normal cross-country scoring meet, Haverford would have remained in that second place finish with a close finish to that top, with the number 3 ranked team in the state, Owen J. Roberts. And Haverford's top 5 in this case would have been Cameron McGeehan, Ryan Dankinis, Micah Haskins, Evelyn Awad, and Prue Friend. 3 of those top 5 would be seniors. Then you add someone like an Olivia Cieslak, and Haverford is overtaking that number 3, Owen J. Roberts, to an ultimate win, in my opinion, when it comes to an overall team score. The next closest finisher in Delaware County would have been Radnor. They would have had a 5th overall finishing team score. They were led by Emma Hyde in this one, who would have been 9th overall in this race. That gene pool of Ridley that I was talking about, you had the Lancy gene pool. You also have the Kane gene pool, because Cecilia Kane, she showed out in this one, and that gene pool of the Kane family is showing. Cecilia Kane came in as the 3rd fastest freshman and the 15th overall fastest time. Cecilia Kane is a name to watch this year, especially as a freshman coming into a new Delaware County, a new progress, a new era within the next couple of years. Cecilia Kane is going to be that name you want to listen out for, especially as we keep growing. Gardner Valley's Avery Lustgarten had the 4th fastest time overall, going 1st overall as a junior. Avery is ready to bring another strong season to the team for Gardner Valley. DELCO once again showed out on all ends on this one with top finishers in their class races. So you look all over that Unionville 2-mile bash, we had top finishers all over from Delaware County. Just like the boys, though, the girls had 10 of the top 50 overall times from Delaware County. You had 3rd overall fastest time would have been McGeehan from Haverford. The 4th fastest time would have been Lustgarten from Gardner Valley. 6th fastest, Dankinis from Haverford. 9th fastest would have been Emma Hyde from Radnor. 15th fastest would have been Cecilia Kane from Ridley. 19th fastest would have been Haskins from Haverford. 28th fastest, Awad from Haverford. Then you had Radnor again, Sonia Doherty. 44th fastest time in this one overall. You had Prue Friend from Haverford, 46th fastest time overall. And it's nice to see Joy Anawachi going out, running and taking cross country seriously, especially for Ridley. She had the 48th fastest time in this one. Joy is going to be, no pun intended, it is intended, a joy to watch this year on a cross country course as well as on the track. In PTXC, going up, taking that drive to Kutztown now, you had Marple Newtown. And I'll be honest, I was impressed by Marple Newtown, the PTXC this one. And I was impressed by Strathaven on the girls' end. But I'm going to get to the boys first. The boys of Marple Newtown showed some strong and impressive performances this week. They finished 6th overall in the varsity blue race. But one of the things I noticed in the preseason is how are they going to go and step up with Ricky Lee now graduating. Julian Bothma, he stepped right in, going 11th overall, 17:46. And Cole Wozniak, he went 17:56 and 15th. And they showed they were ready to take that next step forward. You had guys like Landon Hartwell and Cole Broomall from Broomall. Get it? Cole Broomall from Broomall. And Josh Patrick all rounded out that top 5 for Marple Newtown. And from what I heard from coaches up there, it's actually a little bit longer than that 3.1 that they're used to. So those times only are going to drop as the year progresses, as the year goes on. Once again, Marple Newtown boys showed out, and on the girls' end, Marple Newtown showed up as well. In the varsity blue race, you had Lizzie Getz, who finished 6th overall at 20:55, with teammate Allie Pavone going 12th overall. That dynamic duo was almost matched by a Haven duo of their own, a Haven duo that I've been watching out for since last cross-country season, and that would be Sophie Jackson and Mara Carey. Sophie Jackson went 9th overall at 21:07, Mara Carey 17th at 21:57. This entire race, when it came down to a team score, came down to misplacing athletes. It didn't only come down to Getz and Pavone up top, but it came down to Wark, Brooke Davis, and Aaron Patterson stepping up as their 5th. And it took them to just continue to make that push and try to race and be ahead of Sam Spector, who was Haven's number 3, and Sage Baker, who was Haven's number 4, while hoping that Aaron Patterson can close in and keep Natalie Mulhern in her sights. This came down to really a 3-point difference between them, with Marple Newtown, who gets the... Lizzie, did you get that one? They gets over on Strathaven, again pulling Marple Newtown in the fourth place position, and Haven going 5th. One of the biggest questions I have here is Marple Newtown having a spread of 5 minutes between numbers 1 through 5. I know that is going to close by the end of the season. It seems like there may be a few athletes that might not have been able to race for Marple in this week. That 5-minute gap should only shrink as the season goes on. And Haven, they had that smaller spread. They had a 3:08, 3 minutes and 8 seconds between their 1 and 5. But it's that duo of Getz and Pavone that gets Marple over just a little bit this one. That's going to be a battle later on this season, a battle to keep watching to see how Marple and Haven match up against each other as the year goes on. Two teams I have my eyes on. In the Abington Invitational, you had teams like Agnes Irwin, Cardinal O'Hara, Chester, Episcopal Girls, and Penwood. And this one, the boys' race, was all Penwood. This is actually, like I said on my Instagram story, kind of a surprise. But I'm not really surprised with Lenny Jordan at the helm. With Lenny Jordan coaching, I'm not as surprised. But Penwood was able to put 4 runners to the finish line before that next DELCO individual, in this case it came from O'Hara, crossed the finish line. Penwood was led by Josh Esteris, who went 10th overall at 17:17, and John Esteris, not too far behind him, going 20th at 17:56. They also had Taquip Fountain, who went 26th overall at 18:36. And let's be honest, their number 4, number 5 runner wasn't even in this race. He was in the JV race. Jaden Brown Glover was in the JV race. He went 10th overall with 19:55, and he is only going to keep pushing that limit to the next step. Penwood, once again, surprised me in that one. On the boys' end, Penwood all over the map within the top finishers at Abington. Speaking about Abington, I need to apologize to a team. I need to apologize to Agnes Irwin. I'm sorry. All right, because I've been noting the Episcopal girls. I've been watching Episcopal girls, and I've been mentioning how they're like my sleeper team this preseason. And I failed to even say anything about Agnes Irwin because in reality, they're their own sleeping giant, and I think I woke up that sleeping giant on their own. All right, so Agnes Irwin, I am sorry. You, girls, dominated this race out of nowhere. I mean, Episcopal, once again, they have someone like a Kendra Williamson who dominated 1836, won the race by over 30 seconds, continued to win the race by over 30 seconds. Then you had Agnes Irwin really step in, who won the meet. Agnes Irwin scored 67 points in this race. Their closest competitor was Council Rock North at 91. Means Agnes Irwin almost won this by 30 points. All right? It was about 24 points. I don't teach math. I'm sorry that they took out Council Rock North. Then it was Gettysburg area, Abington, with 5th place going to Episcopal Academy. Agnes Irwin, like I said, I apologize for this one. You are your sleeping giant, and I know it's going to happen. I know you are ready to take that next step forward. You were able to put your top 3 girls ahead of Episcopal's number 2. In this case, that was Hannah Todd, who was 10th overall. Agnes Irwin brought in some magical powers in this one with the abilities of Emma Watson and Avery Brennan going 5th and 6th overall, not to mention Sophia Casey edging out Todd going 9th. You had Margaret Dooley of Agnes Irwin, their number 4. She went 14th overall. This led Wynn Hastings as their number 5, going 33rd overall. EA was able to put their 3-4 ahead of Hastings, but it would not be enough to outlast the team from Agnes Irwin in this one. Agnes Irwin even showed more depth in their JV race. That's right, this small school, this small powerhouse now, in the JV race, they had runners going 2, 2nd, 3rd, and 9th in that one, with Amanda Yoakum being their top overall finisher. She was 2nd, and she ran a varsity time. Amanda's ready to take that next step forward. I don't know. Agnes Irwin now has this depth. It's a team to watch out for, and a team that's going to maybe surprise people in my power rankings later on. All right, so Agnes Irwin, great race this weekend at Episcopal Academy, a great start of the season. I'm excited to see where this little rivalry goes. Agnes Irwin had a 2:34 split between their numbers 1 and 5 and a 21:15 average, with Episcopal having a 4:53 1-5 spread and a 21:42 average in Abington. In the Mill Street Run, you had Monsignor Bonner racing in this one. Bonner had 4 boys in this race. And they're 4 boys that I said to keep an eye out on. Kind of very much of a confidence builder for sure, but it's exactly what happened on Mill Street for Bonner. First time racing on a really a road racing course for them. They ran in the open race. So if you're looking at results here, they're in the open race, not in the high school boys race. Donnie Cave and Josh Knox Wagner, they went 1-2 in the open race, with Donnie going 16:54, which I believe is a huge PR for Donnie Cave, and Josh Knox Wagner going 17:42. They also had teammate Daniel Stevens, who went 7th in this one at 18:54, and sophomore Kenyatta Johnson, he was 9th overall at 19:25. As I mentioned in my preseason pod, this is a team you want to keep an eye on, especially if you're a District 12 team. District 12 AA, you want to watch out for Bonner boys. They have a nice 1-2 punch, and now they have those middle distance runners stepping up. Bonner should be the team to watch if they are able to find that number 5 guy in District 12 AA. On the horizon, what's to come? We have a lot of races coming up. You have dual meets starting up this week. Good luck to those teams in those league meets starting up Tuesday. You had on Tuesday the 10th and Wednesday 11th, you have Central League meet number 1 and 2 at Rose Tree Park. On Wednesday 9/11, you have the PCL meet number 1 at Belmont Plateau. So you'll see Carroll, O'Hara, and Prendy at that one, and Bonner at that one. And then on the 12th, you have the first battle meet of the season for DELCO Christian. They are at Tyler State Park. I know there are other ones, But when I look and I try to break down this podcast, I do so and I look on mile split. So if you're in any other league and I did not get there, please email me your schedule so I can make sure that I get those league meet information in. Unlike last year, I'm not going to break down the league meets as much. I will break down like what stuck out to me at these league meets, but I'm going to focus in because of time constraints that I have on invitationals and weekend meets. So we have invitational meets ahead. And boy, Delaware County's got me working next week. On the 14th, you have the George School Invitational. And at the George School Invitational, you're going to have a battle with Notre Dame and Agnes Irwin. And I've said this already. This is a Notre Dame opener. Agnes Irwin, sleeping giant, who I know I woke up this week. I think I woke up this week. Then you have the debut of the Episcopal Academy boys. I do not know if the girls are in that one because I do have Episcopal, and I believe I have the Episcopal in another meet this week as well. But I know the boys are there. At Briarwood Invitational, you have Ridley, Springfield, who opens up their season at Briarwood at Belmont Plateau, and a team from Strathaven. Nice Belmont course, a lot of ups and downs. Getting up that parachute hill is very important, but getting up the hill right after that, right after Suicide Hill, you've got another big one that you have to get up, as well as a hill that you have to get up right outside the woods. That is a challenging course, but always a fun one. That's actually probably my favorite course that I've ever run on. At the Pencrest Invitational, you have teams all over Delaware County here. You have a debuting Archbishop Carroll. You have Cardinal O'Hara. You have Chester. You have a debuting Chester Charter. You have Delco Christian. You have Episcopal Academy. I believe the girls are at that one. You have Garnet Valley. You have Haverford. You have Interboro. You have Marple Newtown. You have Bonner and Prendy. You have Penwood. You have Pencrest. You have Radnor. You have Ridley. You have Strathaven, you have Sun Valley, and Upper Darby. I do notice that I have Ridley at 2 different meets. I'll reach out to the coaches there to see which one they're actually racing at so I can make sure I cover, or if the boys and girls are split. So I'll make sure I get that information as soon as I can. Here's what everybody's waiting for. Here's the one that's going to cause people some distress, cause a lot of drama. A lot of people who are going to be emailing me or reaching out to me. And if you want to email me or reach out to me, DELCO Pod on Instagram and Twitter, DELCOXC@gmail.com. You can reach out to me there. I'll reply. We could talk. I've talked to some of you already. So here are our XC rankings. And this is how I did it, okay? I did this. This is basically an eye test. I eye tested it. Sorry. So I know I'm going to cause some drama within my eye test. And I know people are going to be like, oh my gosh, she's biased. And okay, maybe I am. But there's an eye test in this one. There's to try to compare teams in this one. And the hardest thing about week 1 is that you're going a 2-mile race versus a 5K race. Next week, when everything's a 5K, my power rankings can change and they can be better. And I can actually have a system on Mile Split where I input the data and I pull out the data and I can actually put out my ranking system, but I can't do that right now. Everything here is an eye test. And my eye test tells me that these are your top 6 teams this week. Remember, this week counts the teams that actually raced. I have teams on here. Do not have teams on here that did not race. So Episcopal boys, they are not on the week 1 rankings because they did not race this weekend. Springfield, they are not on the list because they did not race this weekend. Notre Dame, they're not on this list because they did not race this weekend. Get it? It's the teams that raced. And it's the comparison between a 2-mile race and a 5K race, which is hard, but I had to break it down and I looked off of times. So it's an eye test. Coaches, if you want to complain, come on, I'm all ears. A lot of you have my number. I know you're going to reach out to me anyway. All right, on the boys' end, number 6. I have a top 6 ranking system. Why I chose 6, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm biased because number 6 on the boys' end is Bonner and Prendy. So yeah, maybe I'm biased, all right? Number 6 is Bonner and Prendy in this one. I needed to get them on the list. Their top 4 athletes really showed me something at Mill Street. While I know it's a confidence builder, hey, they ran well. I had to put them number 6. Number 5 this week, and I did this ranking system before I realized that PTXC might be a little too long. Marple Newtown, I put as the number 5 team on this one. Boys, it really impressed me this week. They are number 5 for me, with number 4 being a team I think would have just beaten out Marple a little bit, would have been Penwood. Penwood, like I said, really impressive start. They really started off very well this year. Team that definitely is a surprise to be on this boys' top list ranking-wise already, but Penwood is number 4 for me on my eye test. At number 3 is the winners of the Unionville 2 Mile Bash by class. They showed out, but when it came to a top 5, I had to put them at number 3 here, and that is the team from Ridley. I know I might get some calls from Mr. Lancy on this one, but once again, I was really impressed by Ridley. But when I go to an overall team score, I had to have them at number 3. Love Jackson Kane. Love the depth with Joey Kane. Joey Lancy, and Nick Lancy adding in there is going to show some depth now for Ridley. I'm impressed. I'm excited to see where their next step is. But right now you are at number 3 with the team from Haverford on the boys' end being ranked number 2. Great races out of Teddy Foster this week. You have Logan Eagles. You have a team that could go and really challenge for that top spot in Delaware County at DELCO Championships. Haverford is right now my number 2 team, with my number 1 ranked team right now being Pencrest on the boys' end. They have 3 boys within the top 12 overall times. That is hard to compete with. Especially the Unionville 2 Mile Bash. That team from Pencrest right now is my top ranked team on the boys' end. Now let's bring it over to the girls' end. And the girls' end, this is where, like I said, some of this could be drama. I might have like some people dropping their jaws a little bit. I did text a few people to break out, hey, this is my rankings this week. And I know that some of them are like, hot take. All right, this is a hot take. And I said, look at the results. Look at the results and tell me it's a hot take. All right, because that's all I did was look at the results. Number 6 for this week is Strathaven. They're a team that is right now playing a nice underdog role, a team that is kind of in a rebuild, but they're a rebuild right now where they have a lot of depth and they've always had depth. They're a team that could definitely impress some people at DELCO Championships. At number 5, you have a team from Marple Newtown. That 5-minute sprint concerned me a little bit, but when you have 2 with Lizzie Getz and Ali Pavone at the top, and you're able to close that 5-minute gap, that is going to show. Right now I have Marple Newtown at number 5. At number 4, I have Episcopal Academy. I think with Kendra Williamson up front, they're able to close a gap. They're able to shorten that top 5 time as much as possible. Episcopal Academy right now is my number 4 seeded team in Delaware County, my 4 ranked team in Delaware County. Number 3 right now, I have Radnor. Radnor impressed me this weekend. They really did, running over at Unionville, being the 5th overall top time in this one, with runners from like Hyde and Sonia Doherty within that top 50. Radnor really impressed me this week. So I have Radnor at number 3. At number 2, this is maybe a hot take, but I have Agnes Irwin. Agnes Irwin just impressed. Let's be honest. They impressed at Abington. If you are not impressed by their performance, please go on MileSplit. Check it out. They ran well for a 5K, especially a season starter. Agnes Irwin right now is in my top 2, and I said something last year. If they can find a 5 that's able to shrink that gap, they're going to be impressive. And look at that. They did it. They found not only a 5, but they found a 6, a 7, an 8, a 9. Agnes Irwin is a small school that I think they're going to impress people by the end of it. And then you have the team, number 1 ranked, clearly is going to be from Haverford Township School. They have the depth. They showed it. They're missing their top runner this week and still barely would have lost to the number 3 ranked team in the state, Owen J. Roberts. Haverford right now is number 1. If you want to argue with me, please do so. Tweet at me, send me a DM at DELCOXC Pod on Instagram and Twitter. DELCOXC at gmail.com is my Gmail. Please shoot me an email. hey, if you like this, and I know there are a lot of you liking this because I'm getting all these messages now, I'm getting all of these follows on Instagram. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell your coaches, tell your teammates all about this podcast. Let me know how I'm doing. Give it a 5-star review. Delco, impressive. Week 1, I am excited to recap upcoming George School invite, Briarwood invite, the Pencrest invite. I'm excited to break it down next week. Until then, this is Kevin Key, and I'm signing off from Week 1.